Hey, how's it going? You know who I am. You know what this is. Oh, wait, you don't? This is episode 45 of the Doofy Doo Talk Through of Shiren the Wanderer. Well, once again, Bandicam has decided to shut down all on its own, but luckily, again, I caught it really quickly, so you only missed me walking through this hallway. Maybe like 2 seconds. So don't worry, nothing exciting happened. This episode, I know that Scroll Cave is shorter than Boopa's Cave. I forgot exactly how long it takes before you start running into Gaibara. I think it's like 15 or 16 floors, so we're getting close to the end of Scroll Cave. And I'm doing pretty well. I don't think anything's gonna take me out. Last episode, I talked about BS Shiren and the Satellaview peripheral for the Super Famicom. This episode, I'm going to talk about the remaining hidden branches off the Super Famicom, Shiren the Wanderer. The first secret branch I'm going to talk about is not an official Chunsoft branch. It is an unauthorized hack of the Super Famicom game, kind of a hard version of the game. It includes a lot of extra items. There's like a digging staff, I think. That's a cool idea that sort of digs, pretty over-leveled. I think I should be able to one-hit him good. I was afraid I might miss. Like digs like 4 or 5 spaces in front of Shiren so you can dig a long tunnel through the wall with that staff. That's a cool idea. But the main thing it includes are remixed puzzles. So there are some much more complicated puzzles. I'll include some links to YouTube videos of those remixed puzzles in the comment section below. If you want to check those out, gives you an idea of some of the new items too. This sounds weird because I really love the Adventures of Lolo NES games, which are puzzles that have very specific solutions. But when it comes to roguelikes, as I said earlier, I don't like puzzles that are extremely situational, where there's only one solution and the solution doesn't really help you to learn techniques for the main game. So I'm not a big fan of these remixed difficult puzzles, but certainly it takes some imagination to come up with them, and they give you ideas about how to think of some weird bugs you might exploit in the original game. In addition to that unauthorized sort of remix of Shiren, the other secret branches are the cell phone Shiren games. I believe in 2012 there were some cell phone Shiren the Wanderer games that came out. There were again, kind of like remixed versions of the Super Famicom game. They chopped up the gameplay into shorter chunks, kind of like the newer sequels, but most of the graphics were fairly similar to this game. I've never seen gameplay videos of the cell phone Shiren games. I think they were for the Android, one of the earliest decent games out for the Android system. But one aspect I am interested in is that the cell phone Shiren games were ported to the PC, and the PC port of the cell phone Shiren game has a puzzle editor. And it really should be expected at this point, especially after the success of Minecraft. I think almost every game that's released now should have some form of level editor. And in Shiren's case, really it should be a dungeon editor. It's baffling to me that any developer could see the success of Minecraft and not decide to take the extra time and resources to put in, even if it's a really stripped down version, some version of a level editor. I mean, player generated content has turned Minecraft into this huge phenomenon. And I have no idea well, I take that back. I can think of maybe 3 or 4 reasons why modern developers would choose not to put a level editor into their games. I'll go over them and I'll try to address them one at a time. The first reason is I think some developers think that if they include a robust level editor, they'll kind of put themselves out of a job. It's like, how can we sell sequels to the game? Let's think of a game like Street Fighter 2. If there was a really robust character editor, they think, you know, people are just going to keep making their own characters that are really interesting. How can we keep selling sequel after sequel that only adds like 4 new characters and tweaks the balance? You know, we're hurting our own bottom line if we include character or level editor. And, destroyed my scroll of identity. I don't think that's a valid concern. I think it's clear from Minecraft and other PC examples, PC games of course have included level editors for a long time, that it increases the popularity of your game. If it stretches out the lifespan of your game. It builds a community around building levels and testing them out. So I think if anything, it helps to ensure that as a game designer you have a job. I mean, it pushes you, it gives you new ideas, and players most of the time aren't going to be able to develop content that is as good as professionally developed content. I mean, hey, this is a cool new tile set, like a desert. I feel like Moses the Wanderer. Yeah, you can always put out a sequel that has new content and new tile sets like this, if you really are worried about not being able to make iterative sequels anymore, and I really don't think iterative sequels are a good thing anyway for the industry. The second argument against including level editors is that it will dilute the experience, that people will see a gamer playing some kind of low quality edited level and they'll, you know, internalize that and think, oh, this game sucks, look at this horribly designed level. And they won't experience the game, you know, as the designer really wanted it to. And Nintendo is a big one for this. They exert really, really tight control over the content of their games. They're like terrified of anyone possibly having a weird experience, to the extent that they didn't even let you tweak the selection of items in Mario Kart. Can you imagine? Okay, Mario Kart sells millions and millions of copies, but if in what's the latest one, Mario Kart 8, if there was even a really stripped down level editor for the battle mode, how much more popular that game would be. That was the main flaw in the game, from the reviews I've read. And Nintendo just won't have it, you know? They need to know that everyone is having the same experience. They're almost like a fast food company. In full disclosure, I own Nintendo stock, unfortunately. I also own Apple stock. Fortunately, I own a lot more Apple stock than Nintendo stock. But it is just soul-crushing to see the way Nintendo is just squandering the unique capabilities of the Wii U. Oh, I'll probably do a whole episode if I have extra time about all the ideas, really obvious ideas that Nintendo just has ignored. Alright, so that not a staff was actually a pain sharing staff. I'll keep with the theme of the 90s, go back to Bill Clinton. Name this I Feel Your Pain staff. Probably gonna run out of characters. But oh, I know what I was calling. How about the I Feel Your Pee? Scatological humor for the win. So anyway, I understand Nintendo's fear that it will dilute the experience and give people a false impression of their game. Or any developer, not just Nintendo. Other developers do the same thing, or have the same fear, I would imagine. But again, I don't think that's really justified. I think the fact that you would attract people who wouldn't normally be interested in your game because of the unique mods and content created by your players offsets that. I mean, your game can become much, much more popular. Again, just look at Minecraft. Look at how many Let's Plays and customized versions of Minecraft there are. You could have that, developers. All you gotta do is come up with some kind of level editor. Maybe not to the same extent as Minecraft, since it's kind of a big set of Legos, but, you know, some form. Finally, Nintendo came out with Mario Maker, like 20 years too late. Behind the curve, as always. Ah, this is probably a monster house. Third concern is that it's too time-consuming to develop and test the level editor because of all the, yep, monster house, just because I thought, oh, and it's full of kidneys. Maybe one of them will take out all the other guys and I can just avoid him. That's what I usually do. Or I kill the level up kidney if I happen to have a Dragonair, but I don't think I have one. Yeah, that's a valid concern. It does take more resources and time to test the level editor, make sure they can't break your game. Although I think a lot of cool things happen when players develop some weird technique, and it's actually valuable bug testing. You can always update it later on. But anyway, a solution to that is to give them a stripped down version of the editor you actually use to make the levels in the game. That's what they did for F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64 DD. That level editor was really robust, and It should be. It's almost the same one that the developers used to make the levels. So there was a time when Nintendo was kind of forward thinking about this. I don't know why they went backwards. And that won't fix all the bugs and problems you might have, but it should fix some of them. And the final concern a lot of people have is the most important one. It's the legal concern, copyright infringement. I mean, if you have a character editor, everyone remembers City of Heroes and Marvel had some lawsuit about them being able to make characters that look like licensed Marvel characters. I think they settled out of court for that, but I'm sure NCSoft had to pay some money to Marvel. And, oh, there's a level up Kidney. Let me see if I have anything to take him out. I could try that I Feel Your Pee, but there's a chance he's so strong he could one-hit me. I don't think he can, but I think I'm just going to paralyze him for now, not take that risk. I'm pretty close to the end of the dungeon. Yeah, it's not worth the risk, Doofy. Just leave him alone. But yeah, intellectual property protection is the one concern I do understand. There needs to be some way to flag content and remove it. If someone rips a sprite directly out of another game and puts it into sprite editor, character editor, level editor, there needs to be some way to get rid of that and flag it. So that's the only one I understand. But before I loot this monster house, I will end the episode, and we will continue next time on Shiren, the Wanderer. All I want is a custom dungeon. Why won't you? Let me design my own. It's best off if you don't monetize. Don't charge me, and I'll gladly provide. Free DLC now. For you and for me now.
Hey, I feel like Moses the Wanderer.